What can you say about the air pollution in this area?
Masasabi ko lang dito sa air pollution dito sa area na to. Actually dito sa Tarlac, madaming sasakyan eh. So, pwede itong mag-cause ng air pollution. Sa sobrang dami ng sasakyan, madaming usok na lumalabas galing sa mga sasakyan. Yan.
Para sa akin, may part na maganda rin yung pollution dito, pero depende po dun sa mga sasakyan na dumadaan. Kagaya nung mga vehicle na masyadong mauusok, nagkakaroon ng sanhi or nagiging sanhi sila sa pagkakadagdag ng air pollution dito sa lugar mo.
Sakto lang kasi walang masyadong pabrika dito sa area.
Sometimes good, sometimes bad. Kasi nag-aalo yung amoy sa area na to, lalo na yung mga gas, basura at saka chemical na pabango.
Ang masasabi ko dito sa air pollution in this area is good naman kasi maraming puno tsaka malinis naman yung surrounding, and yung pagka-bad niya is maraming mga sasakyan na dumadaan. Kagaya ng mga jeep dito, maraming usok na nilalabas.
Does air pollution in this city have impact to your health?
Yes.
Bakit?
Kasi madaming sasakyan dito sa lugar na to. So, hindi man siguro ngayon yung impact niya, pero pwedeng pagtanda dahil lagi ako nandito sa Tarlac eh.
Gaya ng sinabi ko nung nauna, magkakaroon lang ng impact para sa akin yung air pollution dito sa isang lugar na ito kapag may dumadaan ng mga sasakyan, at saka kapag merong mga malalapit sa akin na naninigarilyo o gumagawa ng ano pa mang pwedeng makapagdulot din ng air pollution.
Yes, may impact sa ating health to kasi nalalanghap natin yung mga nagmi-mix na may like chemical, yung gas at saka yung mga nag-iossi.
Oo, kasi hindi ako makahinga pag masyadong polluted yung pinupuntahan kong area.
May impact sa health natin ang air pollution dito sa cities dahil sa mga sasakyan at sa mga constructional site na nagkukos ng mga usok or alikabok or mga chemicals. Yun lang yan.
What can you say about the indoor pollution? How can you prevent it?
Masasabi ko lang sa indoor pollution is yung sa pagluluto, no? Kasi meron lumalabas na dyan, usok din or fumes galing dun sa gas na may lamang chemical. So ang isa sa mga pwedeng paraan para ma-prevent natin yung indoor pollution is gumamit tayo ng mga tinatawag na air vents, yung may mga fan na ginagamit sa cooking, di ba? May mga ganun.
Huwag masyadong gumamit ng mga matatapang na pabango, tapos gumamit na lang din ng air ventilation.
Para sa akin sa indoor pollution, nakakasama ito sa kalusugan natin. Lalo na sa mga may edad na, kasi maaari silang maaring lumala yung kanilang sakit, lalo na kung sila ay nagtataglay ng asthma, kagaya ng mga ganun bagay. At para sa akin, mape-prevent itong indoor air pollution sa pamamagitan ng pagkakaroon ng disiplina sa sarili kung paano gamitin yung mga appliances sa bahay, at saka kung paano gamitin yung mga bagay na maaaring magdulot ng air pollution, kagaya ng pagpapabango, pagsusunog ng mga bagay na malapit dun sa ating tahanan.
Iwasan natin ng indoor pollution
sa pagsunod na lang sa mga policy na binibigay, and iwasan na lang at para mas hindi makakasama dito. Yan.
Maglinis lang ng bahay. Yun lang.
Do you think you can do to prevent air pollution from worsening?
What can I do? Ano na ulit na question?
Anong magagawa mo para ma-prevent yung air pollution para hindi na lumala?
Para hindi lumala. Actually, sa akin, sa pamilya ko, pwede kong ma-prevent or para hindi lumala, pwede ko siyang pero kung sa lahat ng tao natin to ihahanay, siguro medyo complicated kasi may mga tao na nagpapausok sa bahay nila, di ba? Meron yun nga yung kagaya nung sa mga sasakyan, sa mga jeep, hindi natin may iwasan yan eh. So para sa akin, para hindi ma-prevent yung worsening niya, para hindi siya maging worse, siguro gagawa ng batas na lahat ng mga, for example, yung sa jeep, lahat ng mga jeepney na nagkakos ng air pollution or nagkakaroon ng usok sa mga jeepney nila, siguro gawa ng paraan para matanggal yung usok, or kung pwede rin na tanggalin na yung mga ganong klaseng jeepney. Gamitin ng mga jeepney is yung mga hindi umuusok para hindi ganong lumala yung air pollution.
Para sa akin, mapiprevent ito. Kung ako ang tatanungin, magsasuggest ako dun sa mga nakatataas na magkaroon ng parang batas na itataguyod nila na gawing limitado na lang yung sa mga sasakyan, na lalo na sa mga jeep na mauusok, kasi yun yung nagiging pangunahing sanhi na pagkakaroon ng air pollution. At saka sa mga basura, dapat magkaroon din ng disiplina yung bawat isa na wag magsusunog ng mga napagkalatan natin, bagkus ipagsama-samay na lang doon sa mga kusa nararapat nila.
Paano maiiwasan yung paglala ng air pollution? Huwag na lang magsunog ng mga dahon-dahon na nakikita sa paligid para hindi na lumala yung air pollution.
Huwag magputol ng puno at saka patuloy pa rin magtanim.
Ang gagawin ko na lang dito is sasali ako sa mga organization na magbibigay para makatulong sa pagkabawas ng air pollution at mas makakatulong.
Air pollution is the contamination of the indoor or outdoor environment by any chemical, physical, or biological agent that modifies the natural characteristics of the atmosphere. Household combustion devices such as motor vehicles, industrial facilities, and forest fires are common sources of air pollution. Pollutant of major public health concerns including particulate matter such as carbon monoxide, ozone, nitrogen dioxide, and sulfur dioxide. Outdoor and indoor air pollution cause respiratory and diseases and are important sources of morbidity and mortality. Air quality is closely linked to the Earth's climate and ecosystem globally. Many of the drivers of air pollution are also sources of greenhouse gases emissions.
What are the impacts of air pollution to us? From smog hanging over cities to smoke inside the home, air pollution poses a major threat to health and climate. Ambient or outdoor air pollution in both cities and rural areas is causing fine particulate matter which result in strokes, heart diseases, lung cancer, acute and chronic respiratory diseases. Additionally, around 2.4 billion people are exposed to dangerous levels of household air pollution while using polluting open fires or simple stoves for cooking fueled by kerosene, biomass, and coal. And according to World Health Organization, each year 3.2 million people die prematurely from illnesses attributable to the household air pollution caused by the incomplete combustion of solid fuels and kerosene used for cooking. Particulate matter and other pollutants in household air pollution inflame the airways and lungs, impair immune response and reduce the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. And among these 3.2 million deaths from household air pollution exposure are caused by ischemic heart disease, stroke, lower respiratory infection, chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, lung cancer, and other possible diseases that caused by air pollution.
And now let's proceed to the next one, which is atmosphere. Look up, way up. The clouds you see in the sky, the wind that is moving the trees, or the flag in your schoolyard, or even the sunshine you feel in your face. These are all result of Earth atmosphere. Earth atmosphere stretches from the surface of the planet up to as far as 10 kilometers or 6,216 per 14 miles above that. After that, the atmosphere blends into space. While oxygen is necessary for most life on Earth, the majority of Earth atmosphere is not oxygen. Earth atmosphere is composed of about 78% nitrogen, 21% of oxygen, and 0.9% of argon, and 0.1% of other gases. Trace amount of carbon dioxide, methane, water vapor, and neon are some of other gases that can make up the remaining 0.1%.
The third one is the indoor and outdoor pollution. The indoor and outdoor air pollution is caused by the presence of contaminants that damage our health. These contaminants can be physical, chemical, or biological. But first, what do we mean by indoor air? Indoor air quality refers to the air that occupies confined, Non-industrial environments, whether private like housing, offices, car interiors, or public like public transport, schools, public places, etc. These indoor spaces are often found to be contaminated by many pollutants, and studies even show that indoor air pollution is up to 8 times greater than the outdoor air. Why is indoor air quality important? We spend on average 80 to 90% of our time inside, so although ignored for a long time, the question of indoor air quality has become one of the main environmental public health issues all over the world. And if the indoor space is poorly ventilated, pollution can quickly accumulate, especially in small places like inside of the car, bathrooms, and garages.
There are multiple sources of indoor pollution, and they can be linked to human activities like use of cleaning or cosmetic products, cigarette smoke, candles, incense, and some of certain activities we do that can cause harmful indoor air quality, such as candle burning, cooking, and using certain types of chemical cleaning products like bleach, the vapor from which can interact with VOCs or be broken down by direct sunlight to create other pollutants. Equipment and buildings like furniture, defective ventilation system, glues, varnishes, paints, coatings, asbestos, building materials. And also when the premises are occupied like animals and plants. These different sources of indoor pollution can generate dozens of chemical substances which are grouped under the name of volatile organic compounds emitted in byproducts such as cleaners or cosmetics or by combustion. Substances have various health effects which can cause headache and eye irritation in the case of short exposure, but also can be linked to respiratory problems and can they even affect the hormonal system in the event of long-term exposure.
The layer closest to the Earth's surface is what we call the troposphere, reaching from about 7 and 15 kilometers or 5 to 10 miles from the surface. The troposphere is the thickest at the equator and much thinner at the north and south poles. Most of the water vapor in the atmosphere, along with dust and ashes and particles, are found in the troposphere. Up next is the stratosphere. Is the next layer up from the Earth's surface, and it reaches from the top of the troposphere, which is called the tropopause, to an altitude of approximately 15 kilometers or 30 miles. And the temperature in the stratosphere increases with the altitude. A high concentration of ozone, a molecule composed of 3 atoms of oxygen, makes up the ozone layer of the stratosphere. This ozone absorbs some of the incoming solar radiation, shielding the life on Earth from potential harmful or ultraviolet or UV light, and it is responsible for the temperature increase in altitude. The top of this stratosphere is what we call stratopause. Above that is the mesosphere, which reaches about far as 85 kilometers to 53 miles above Earth's surface. Temperature decreases in the mesosphere with altitude. In fact, the coldest temperature in the atmosphere are near the top of the mesosphere, about -90 degrees Celsius or -30 degrees Fahrenheit. The atmosphere here is thin, but still thick enough so that the meteors will burn up as they pass through the mesosphere. creating what we see as the shooting stars. The upper boundary of the mesosphere is what we call the mesopause.
The thermosphere is located above the mesopause and reaches out to around 600 kilometers or 372 miles. Not much is known about the thermosphere except that temperature increase with altitude. Solar radiation makes the upper region of the thermosphere very hot, reaching temperature as high as 2000 degrees Celsius. The uppermost layer that blends with what is considered to be outer space is the exosphere. The pull of Earth's gravity is small here that molecules of gas escape into outer space. The evolution of Earth's current atmosphere is not completely understood. It is thought that the current atmosphere resulted from a gradual release of gases from both of the planet's interior and from the metabolic activities of life forms, as opposed to the primordial atmosphere, which developed by outgassing or venting during the original formation of the planet. The early evolution of the atmosphere on Earth. Water have been able to exist as a liquid since the ocean have been present for at least 3 billion years. Once organisms developed the capability for photosynthesis, oxygen was produced in a large quantities. The capability for photosynthesis arose in primitive forms of plants between 2 and 3 billion years ago. Previous to the evolution of photosynthetic organism, oxygen was produced in a limited quantities as a byproduct of the decomposition of water vapor by ultraviolet radiation.
These are some tips on how to reduce indoor air pollution. Open windows when it's not cold or the pollen count isn't too high. Of course, any easy way to encourage a good exchange of indoor and outdoor air. Change out your gas stove. When it's time for a new stove, choose induction or electric stove over gas stove. Induction cooktops not only avert indoor pollution, but also use the least amount of energy. Consider using air purifiers. Although they do not remove air pollutants, they can improve indoor air quality. Use an air purifier that has a high clean air delivery rate, matched for the size of your room. Replace filters. Changing your air conditioner and air purifier filters regularly will improve your air quality and reduce energy use.
Outdoor air pollution. Outdoor air pollution is one of the world's largest health and environmental problems. Outdoor air is often referred to as ambient air. The common source of outdoor air pollution are emissions caused by combustions, processed from motor vehicles, solid fuels, burning, and industry. Other pollution sources include smoke from bus fires, windblown dust, and biogenic emissions from vegetation, pollen, and mold spores. Outdoor air pollution is a risk factor for several of the world's leading causes of death, including stroke, heart disease, lung cancer, and respiratory disease such as asthma. And according to the Global Burden of Disease study, 4,506,193 people died prematurely as a result of outdoor air pollution in the latest years. Examples of outdoor air pollutions are electric utilities, transportation, residential sources. Electric utilities that burns coal, natural gas, oil, and biomass produce air pollutants that affects your lung health. Transportations. Vehicles like cars, motorbikes, buses, and trains used to move people goods. And fuel from one place to another can make the air around you dirty and fill it with toxic substance. Residential sources. Burning fuels like coal or wood to warm your home or mowing your lawn can produce emissions that can affect the air quality in your neighborhood and beyond.
And these are some tips on how to reduce outdoor air pollution. Use eco-friendly utilities at home by using less energy or eco-friendly sources like solar power or electricity. You can reduce the number of toxic substances released in and around your home and the community. This will help to keep the air around your living space cleaner and healthier for your love. Don't burn wood or trash. This puts a small solid particles called soot into the air. Breathing it in may be dangerous for your lung health.
Air pollutants refers to any physical, chemical, and biological change in the air. It is contamination of air by harmful gases, dust, and isotopes, which affect plants, animals, and human residents. There is a percentage of gases present in the atmosphere, an increase and decrease in the composition. These gases is harmful to survival. This imbalance in the gaseous composition has increased Earth's temperature, which is known as global warming. What is air pollutants? Pollutants are the substances which cause pollution. Air pollution is caused by air pollutants. These are two types of air pollutants. These are primary and secondary pollutants. Primary pollutants. The pollutants that directly cause air pollution are known as primary pollutants. Last one, secondary pollutants. Are pollutants formed by the intermingling and reaction of primary pollutants are known as secondary pollutants.
So, particulate pollutants. The particles that pollute the air by being suspended can be defined as particulate pollutants. These particles are results of some anthropogenic processes like vehicles, industries, construction sites, activities, etc., or natural sources like pollen, volcanic eruptions, natural gaseous precursors, etc. Particulate pollutants can do vast damage to the human respiratory system. These fine particulates can be inhaled deep into the lungs and can cause breathing and respiratory problems, irritation, inflammations, and pneumoconiosis, a disease of the lungs caused due to the inhalation of dust. Lead is one of the most hazardous heavy metals, and it can cause serious damage to the human body like nervous system damage, digestive issues, kidney damage, and impact on intelligence. Lead mixed with water and food can create cumulative poisoning. It has long-term effects on children as it lowers intelligence. Fly ash is particles of oxides and other heavy metals. Thermal power plants are a major source of fly ash pollutants. Its deposition in agricultural fields can cause heavy metal contamination of crops and vegetables. Nanoparticles is responsible for the information of dust clouds, ozone depletion, environmental hydroxyl radical concentration, and stratospheric temperature changes.
First, what is carbon monoxide? It is highly toxic, produced from internal combustion engines due to incomplete combustions. And its impact is to produce carbon hemoglobin, reducing the oxygen carrying capacity of the blood. Second is carbon dioxide. This is heavier than air. Source are volcanoes, fire, etc. And its impact has the harmful effects if a high concentration of CO2 is inhaled, like dizziness, headache, and etc. The third is chlorofluorocarbons, used in refrigerators, air conditioners, and aerosols. Its impact is highly destructive to the ozone layer. The fourth is ozone. It's very useful in the stratosphere but harmful at the ground layer. It's produced due to industries and vehicles. And its impact, it has toxic effects, causes watery and itchy eyes. The fifth is nitrogen oxide, caused due to the reaction between oxygen and nitrogen at temps such as combustion engines and industries. And its impact, it aggravates asthmatic conditions and other respiratory issues. In humans, and plays a major role in the formation of SMOG, acid rain, and the greenhouse effect. The sixth is sulfur dioxide, pungent smelling colorless gas produced from mostly volcanic activities, industrial process, and production of sulfuric acid. And its impact is respiratory issues, premature deaths, and death of certain nerves when inhaled. And the seventh is volatile organic compounds. Volatile organic compounds are large group of carbon-based chemical that easily evaporate at room temperature. And its impact, irritation in eyes, skin, nose, and through long-term exposure can cause serious damage to the liver and other organs.
And the eighth is benzene, found in petrochemicals and used as a fuel additive.
And the ninth is ethylene. It's used in plastic and chemical industries in the production of polyethylene and other polymers. Its impact, excessive exposure can cause headache and dizziness. Ethylene oxide is a carcinogen. And the last one is asbestos. It occurs naturally as fibrous mineral, and its impact is prolonged exposure, and inhalation can be very harmful and can cause fatal illness. And what are the causes of air pollutants? Air pollutants are a result of some anthropogenic process like vehicles, industries, construction sites, activities, or natural resources like pollen, volcanic eruptions, natural gaseous precursors. The solid and liquid particles suspended in our air are called aerosols.
And now we will give you some tips on how to reduce air pollutants. First up is walk to work if you can. By doing this, we can help our environment to reduce air pollution somehow. Next is drive an electric vehicle, especially if we can afford it. And we must buy those or use those. Third tip is we should avoid burning waste because it can cause a lot of air pollution to our environment. If we can, we should use renewable energy to power up our home. And if we can also afford it, we must use clean energy to cook. Next is we should check daily air pollution levels. And lastly, we should also turn off lights and electronic devices, or especially when not in use. We hope that you learned something from this topic that we presented to you, and thank you for watching and listening, and have a great day. And this is our documentary about air pollution.